Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Brittany Webster, and for our week one discussion, I wanted to talk about the Foxconn suicides that occurred in China in 2010. What I'll be discussing today is a brief overview of Foxconn, what the company is and what they do, the scandal that they faced, and what is currently being done to eliminate the issue, as well as highlight some of the ethical issues that the company faced. So, just to let you know, Foxconn is one of the major employers in China. They employ over 1.3 million employees worldwide. What we know them for as being one of the largest information technology contractors, and they are tied in terms of revenue with Amazon. So they're a very, very large company. Some of their customers, which we would know them as Apple, Hewlett Packard, Dell, Intel, Cisco, Microsoft, and Nintendo. So this is a company that we should all be very, very familiar with as we utilize their products every day in our lives. The reason that the company has come under such scrutiny is that they have a high number of suicides of their employees. In 2010 alone, they had 18 attempted suicides, 14 of which resulted in death. For their employees, what they do in China is, the majority of their workforce is comprised of factory workers. Unfortunately, China's labor laws are very different than the US. They don't have regulations that we do. Now, although our companies here aren't perfect either, this one is definitely different because in their pay, they pay their employees equivalent to 130 US dollars a month. In addition to their benefits package, they do receive on campus housing, so they live in dormitories, rooms that sleep up to 8 employees each room, in addition to their $130 a month pay that they receive. Because they are such an in demand IT contractor, the pressure for their employees are extremely high. The working conditions are not the best. Employees are often made to work 12-hour shifts at a minimum. Anytime they have a release of a major electronic coming out, such as iPhone releases, employees are routinely expected to work 16 plus hours and oftentimes don't receive overtime pay. In addition, there is a lot of mental intimidation that occurs there. I mean, employees are scolded, they're scolded in front of other employees. Again, the pressure is very high to produce and be high producing employees, sometimes expected to produce 600 to 700 iPhones a day. Due to the pressure and the lack of regulation, many of these employees feel that they simply do not have a way out and they unfortunately commit suicide. They've had suicide several years before 2010 and had one as recent as 2016, but unfortunately, due to the unprecedented number in 2010 alone, that's what caught media attention. Once the media got a hold of this, it became, a firestorm. Several colleges across China decided to do studies over the practices and the procedures that occur at these type factories, but unfortunately, there has been little to no change. Again, as I stated, China's labor laws are vastly different than the American labor laws. Their labor system is not as regulated. They don't offer as many protections to their employees. And being that they're one of the largest employers in mainland China, there really is no incentive to change these practices. We live in a consumer society where the consumer drives demand, and as long as there's going to be continued demand for such products, unfortunately, I don't see this changing. And it's really unfortunate because employees should never work to the point or feel that they have no other option than to commit suicide. But again, as I stated, with some of the well-known companies that they produce products for, Apple being number one, the demand is so high that there's simply not going to be any changes until the consumers decide to stop decide to stop purchasing these products and demand better conditions for these workers. And unfortunately, I just don't see that happen. We've all become so used to having, our electronic devices and the things that they offer, and we're just simply unaware in the U.S. of what those workers, endure in order for us to receive those products. And lastly, we all know that money talks. We see these products and they're sold here, and companies are making such a large profit, yet they are paying these customers very minimal amounts to produce these. So as long as demand is still high, as long as profits are still high, I do not see any change, unfortunately, for companies such as Foxconn. So that is my week one discussion, and I thank you all. Bye-bye.